never going to get better if you keep doing the same thing. I try to move away from the idea of something being too hard. It is rarely too hard. It's too time consuming, very different. Tedious, yes. Hard? No. If you're willing to slow down and put in the work, that is going to make a big difference in what that end result comes out like. But I noticed with myself, I'm so busy I've got a new Patreon lesson every week. That is very time consuming because I have to get the art together and then I spend many, many, many hours getting the voiceover. And so it's so easy for me to do oh, that's going to take too long. Let me pick a simpler project. I'm not only boring myself, and this I think is very common for artists. We get bored because we keep doing things that we think is easy or that isn't going to take as long, but also that gets boring very quickly. So it hit me this week. I'm like, what am I doing? I do that all the time and I am bored. I am bored of doing simple basic lessons and they're fun to do sometimes, but I've been doing too many lately. I want to do some more advanced lessons, some more advanced things that take a lot longer. And so I chose a project this week of these oranges with this blurry out of focus background. That is the out of focus portion. So as I move on to this orange, and these leaves are going to be somewhat out of focus. This specific slice is super crisp, super in detail. And I have seen this photo so many times and I've wanted to paint it or draw it. And every time I look at it, no, it's going to take too long. You know what? Sometimes we need to just move away from this idea of constantly trying to save time, constantly thinking that's too hard, AKA that's too time consuming. We do that to ourselves so often. I started this project. I have almost a renewal of, I can't wait to work on this. I haven't been so passionate about getting to that easel in so long. It's because I chose something that isn't boring me anymore. And it's not that it's not fun to do simple things. If you do it too much, you're gonna lose interest. Challenge yourself. Pick something that is time consuming, that's too hard. That is often what will refresh that passion for art. Jump into that project that you're not even sure how it's gonna come out. Can you pull that off? I wonder if I can do that. That alone sometimes can just so motivate you to want to get work done. Trying to get it to be somewhat out of focus so that this one is super in focus, all of that was a bit more challenging than usual. Definitely more time consuming. So worth it. When you see a project that you found on Unsplash, on Pixabay, a photograph you took, and you want to paint it, you're like, oh, I'd love to do that someday. Do it now. Don't put it off for when you have more time, for when you're more skilled, for when you have more practice. Don't put it off anymore. Jump into the hard things. And then that's the other thing. We often hobble ourselves because we think, oh, I'm a beginner, so I should stick with beginner tutorials. If you want to stay a beginner forever as an artist, stay with beginner tutorials. They hold you back. Start with them, do a few of them, or even do some when you're just like, okay, I want a quick project in between some of my bigger projects. It is fun to do beginner stuff. I'm not saying, I get it, trust me, I like doing it. But when you do it too much, one, you'll start to lose interest. Two, you stop progressing. You're never going to get better if you keep doing the same thing. I've made this example before. If you're learning to play an instrument, you may master Mary Had a Little Lamb, but you're never going to be able to play Bach or Vivaldi if all you do is play Mary Had a Little Lamb over and over again. If you want to reach that point of playing Bach and Vivaldi, you have to practice it. And when you start learning those songs, oh my gosh, it's going to sound horrible. Dying Cat, horrible. But that's how you get there. You have to start doing things that won't sound as good. Same thing with your art. It may not look as good when you start doing things that are more advanced, that are more time consuming, that you have to pay more attention to, okay, is this a soft line? Is this a harsh line? Are my values right? It may not look as good as what you felt like your beginner stuff looked just as good as the teachers because it was all beginner. But that's how you get to play Vivaldi. You jump into the hard stuff. Don't hold yourself back by sticking to the beginning stuff. And again, you will probably lose interest. You will feel bored. Renew that passion for art. Choose something that just feels so hard and so far beyond your skill level. That is the project that you need to choose.